to apologise to you because you can tell by looking at me that I'm neither Indian and I'm certainly not young. But I am what you may describe as a late-stage entrepreneur who has co-founded an early-stage renewable energy startup called Carbon Masters. And you might also ask, well, what is an Englishman dressed in what I now believe is described as a Modi jacket doing at an ink and wash conference in Hyderabad? Well, I'm here to share with you the Carbon Light story. It's an idea that's in essence not new for India, but it's an idea whose time has come. It's an idea that is the need of the hour, and I believe can transform India. Now, to tell the story, we need to go back to 2007. I'm a senior executive in the IBM Corporation. I had come into IBM from the PwC acquisition, and for 25 years prior to that, I sold soap and shampoo around the world for Procter & Gamble. And then I had my Pauline moment. I saw Al Gore's film, The Inconvenient Truth. I was a chemistry undergraduate. I understand the chemistry of carbon. That film shocked me to my very core, because for the first time in my life, I intellectualized about what this climate change issue was, and it frightened me, because I thought we're not doing anywhere near enough to sort this issue out. So in 2008, I gave up my corporate career, and I beat a path to Edinburgh, University of Edinburgh, to be on the first cohort of a unique program to a Master's in Carbon Management. And I graduated in 2009 at the ripe old age of 57. Now, while I was there, I had the very good fortune to meet Som Narayan, who is a brilliant young environmental engineer who'd come from Bangalore to study the same program as I was doing in Edinburgh. And his talent, capability, vision is a wonderful example of the enormous talent that exists in this beautiful country of yours. So when we graduated, we formed Carbon Masters, and our mission was to address the climate change issue by trying to develop low carbon solutions that could displace fossil fuels and therefore reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And for the first 2 years in the UK, we were extremely successful. We advised companies how they could measure their carbon footprint and then take steps to reduce their carbon footprint by energy efficiency measures or by investing in renewable energy technologies. In 2012, Som returned to his hometown of Bangalore, and we set up Carbon Masters India as an Indian company. And we naively assumed that we could successfully do what we had been doing in Europe. And we failed. Why? Because back then in 2012, no Indian organisation or company was remotely interested in measuring their carbon footprint, much less paying anybody to do it for them. So we thought, if Indian organisations would not buy advice, would they buy a low carbon solution? Because the problem still needed solving. So we looked at wind, we looked at solar, we looked at briquettes. And in the process of looking at briquettes, we came across a chicken farmer who'd built a biogas plant just outside Bangalore, where he was processing the chicken dung. And when we came across the plant, sadly, like too many biogas plants in India, it was defunct. He was processing the waste, creating raw biogas, flaring it into a shed where he was warming the chicks before he sold them to market. So we took over that plant in 2013 and tried to learn everything you can learn about biogas. Why had it failed? Could we get that waste into the digester? How did anaerobic digestion work? The important thing we also learnt was how to purify that raw biogas of its impurities like carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide and moisture. And with technology, take those impurities out and then compress it and bottle it into cylinders. Now, by the end of 2013, we thought we had, where would we sell this? And so we developed unique CNG cylinders, which is a 2-cylinder or a 4-cylinder format, in a chassis on wheels with a pressure gauge. Because unlike with an LPG cylinder, you can't pick these things up to shake them and see if they're empty. But we were initially focused on the telecom sector. Why the telecom sector? Because there are 500,000 towers in India, and they run on grid electricity for only about 18 to 20 hours a day. When the grid goes down, they go to batteries, and when the batteries go down, they go to backup diesel generators. So the telecom sector burns more diesel, they say, than the Indian Army. Chefs loved cooking without gas. And when we investigated why that was the case, there were two big reasons. Firstly, if you're cooking for 100 people and you use LPG, as you use the cylinder, the pressure drops. Because we pack our gas at high pressure, it cooks right through the cooking process. Chefs just love that. In addition, the saving for using our brand, we call it Carbon Lights, was 10 to 15% versus LPG. So you're saving costs, it cooks better, and from our point of view, you're saving carbon emissions. So we started to expand because we're in Bangalore, and as you know, Bangalore, like many other cities in India, suffers a perennial garbage problem. So we started to take the organic portion of that garbage and learned to co-digest it with our agri-waste to create Carbon Lights bottled biogas. So essentially we work in an ecosystem with companies like Kasudra, who you've just heard from, and Zaho's Zero Waste, who either deliver separated organic waste to our biomethanization plants, or we go and pick it up in our trucks, which run on our gas, and we pick up that separated waste, we bring it to our biogas facilities, we carry out anaerobic digestion, and we create gas, purify it and bottle it, and then we ship it to restaurants for commercial cooking. We also learned how to take the slurry, which all the academic research says slurry from an anaerobic digestion plant is an excellent fertilizer, but we windrow compost that with garden waste and biomass to drive up the carbon ratio. So we end up with a very high quality organic fertilizer, which we sell to farmers. Again, with excellent results. Farmers report that they're able to use our fertilizer, they can reduce the amount of chemical fertilizers that they're using, and they replenish their soil with good, useful nutrients as well as carbon. So, from a small pilot plant in Dadapalpur, just outside Bangalore, we're now selling Carbon Lights gas and fertilizer in 6 locations across 3 states. 3 are in Bangalore, and we're also in Tirupati, Adoni, and Indore in a partnership we formed with the Mahindra organisation. That gives us what we've described as an asset-light model to scale our business. Mahindra put the capital in, working with the municipal solid plant, and build the plant. We operate that plant and sell and market the output as we do. So where do we go from here? We have another very innovation in local authorities where we build our anaerobic digesters inside a shipping container, and we pipe in one of them we pipe it straight to a restaurant close by. What we want to do is scale it. The scientists tell us we have 10 years to sort the climate change issue out. We want to take Carbon Lights to every city and town across India, and indeed the world. And the Mission Innovation Framework, Julie, as just said, if we can expand Carbon Lights globally, we can save 46 million tonnes of CO2e. But from India's point of view, we can solve the garbage problem in every city in India. We can provide a climate-friendly alternative to the burning of fossil fuels for transport, cooking, and backup power generation. And for millions of farmers, they've got a better alternative than chucking too much urea onto the soil that's making it infertile. And finally, if we can build a large-scale decentralized biogas industry in this country, it'll create thousands and thousands of jobs in both rural and urban areas, not only for skilled but for unskilled people. And that, from my point of view, would be a real win-win-win for India. Thank you very much.